Well, just how important is reliable transportation? From planes, trains to automobiles, it's literally what keeps us moving. But today on Chamber Chats, we're going to be talking about reliable transportation and how it keeps the economy moving as well. This is Chamber Chats. Hello and welcome to Chamber Chats. My name is Paul Haysom. Today we are talking transportation and the impact of major infrastructure decisions on the Greater Victoria region. What better place to start than at Victoria International Airport? I'm thrilled to be joined by Victoria Airport Authority President and CEO Elizabeth Brown. Elizabeth, thank you very much for having us here.
Thanks for having me here, Paul, and I hope you like the view.
I do love the view. This is pretty stunning. Now, this used to be an observation deck, but constraints with space, right?
Yeah, we're busting at the seams. We need to grow. We're growing a lot of the staff here that run the Victoria International Airport. And we've seen a lot of changes in the type of aircraft that are operating here, so we need more operational space, hold room space for people when they're waiting for their aircraft. So we're moving ourselves out of the offices, and part of what we've done is moved our finance team up here, and pretty soon they're going to be moving out of here too as we move to various areas around the airport to try and accommodate this and grow the terminal building.
Yeah, lucky finance team for now though, because you get quite the view. This is a nice place to work right now. You're in the business of reliable transport. That's what you have and what we're talking about today. And just how much does reliable, I guess, ground transport impact your day-to-day and what you're doing?
Oh, it's huge. You know, we are the first and last impression of people who are coming to the southern part of Vancouver Island, to Victoria. This is capital of British Columbia. So it's really important that people have a smooth transition when they arrive through the airport. I have to do my job to make sure operationally we're working well, but also that we have to do well to get those people moving into their places that they're intending to go, whether it's up island or whether it's into the inner harbor and enjoying a wonderful vacation here if they're doing business here. So transportation connectivity is really important to us, whether it's bus services or taxis or Ubers or any of those things, to make sure that that transition for an arriving passenger is a smooth one and they have the best impression that they can of our region.
How crucial is the airport's role in that entire transportation to get downtown, to get where these people need to go? Because there's a lot of moving pieces, but you're kind of the biggest at the start, right?
We are the biggest. I mean, the airport really is an economic enabler for the entire community. So it's really important that we're meeting the needs of the community in terms of the services that they need to get to where they're going, but also for people who are doing business to be able to attract that business here to the island. It's really multidimensional of the kinds of needs that we need to serve the community. So we are really working towards a long-term plan to be able to meet those needs, both from introducing new air services, but also increasing the capacity of the terminal building, which is now pretty constrained in some major areas of the airport, that we need to be mindful for the future to be able to serve those needs in the future.
And what would those needs be? I mean, when you talk about trying to grow and you mentioned that 10-year plan, what is involved in that plan?
Well, you know, we have a few major challenges that we're facing right now. The first one is baggage handling system. It's the area that people don't see.
Right.
But we've seen a change in aircraft, and so those aircraft are larger now and they're operating out of bridges, so they're on the second floor. More people, more bags, bigger planes, constraints on the baggage handling system, constraints on the hold room area where there's not enough seating, the cooling is not sufficient. This is an older building. This was built in the 60s.
Right.
So a lot of this are things that we're really focused on in the short term. This year we're actually already started on an upper hold room project that will see us moving out of our offices and developing more hold room space exactly to address those needs and also to add more services. And as you look outside, you see more jets that are operating. That's just putting a lot of more constraints on screening, on check-in, and all of the things that meet the terminal building. In the longer term, we're going to need more than that. Though we're going to need space. Right now, we believe we'll move past 2 million passengers a year this year.
Wow.
That's significant growth. We've seen about 6% growth already this year over last year. So we need to meet the demands of the community. But there's certainly a desire and a need to see services that go further afield, that go into Europe, that go into Asia. And for that, we need to really look at runway length. We need to look at the capacity that we have at the terminal building and the propensity of airlines to fly those services from Victoria.
Yeah, and that's such a huge piece of all of that. And when we talk about the business community, I know Victoria, no doubt wanting to be a tech hub, it already is. It's becoming just growing each and every year. But is there a cap on that if that transportation side of it is limited? And how much of a cap is that really? How much money are we losing out on if we don't invest into it?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, sometimes it's the lost opportunity, right? It's not necessarily you're going to get that achievement if you build it, but if you don't build it, you won't see that growth, right? So when you talk about the tech industry, services into California, services into areas where they're doing their business or people that need to come in here, Movie industry is another one that we're seeing a lot of things. We have huge demand into California,
Right, of course.
and we need to really address that growth going forward in the future. But then it's also moving people around the city. Our transportation, some of our biggest challenges are moving people on Pat Bay Highway into downtown, where we still have level crossings that are impeding people to move freely and smoothly and in a quick, efficient way into downtown Victoria. And you know, it's not just the airport that has that challenge, it's also BC Ferries. It's really about looking at the overall transportation infrastructure for the entire region and how can we best meet those needs. And I think we're a little behind on planning for that.
If you don't build it, they won't come. So you kind of need to field of dreams it, so to speak.
Exactly.
I want to talk about your role in the Chamber, and the Chamber's very lucky to have you involved in that as well. But what is that role, and how important is that role as far as advocating for those voices, but also making sure that all these moving pieces quite literally are working together?
You know, the Chamber is such a great organization. Of course, it's one of the oldest chambers in Canada,
Yes.
and we have a really strong membership and really strong involvement. It was really amazing. And I joined the Chamber. The airport was already a member of the Chamber, but
Yeah.
I personally got involved because I wanted to be connected to the community, and that's what the Chamber brings, is it's that connectivity through everybody, all the businesses, so we can understand what the needs are. For me as CEO of this airport, I need to know what the community is saying in terms of what they need from their airport, because this is what it's for. But it's also working together to solve those problems. We all have common challenges. We are working through the challenges of transportation and infrastructure in this region,
Yes.
and we're all able to talk about that. And the Chamber is a great voice for advocacy to talk about those things moving forward. My role on the board allows me to hear all of those things and also to lend my voice from an airport perspective on some of those challenges that we're facing as a community.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough as well. I mean, it's challenges, but it's also funding from different levels of government as well. So you must be dealing with a lot of different levels and having to advocate so many different times in different perspectives as well.
Yeah, exactly, and it's building those relationships. We are fortunate because we are the capital of British Columbia,
Yes.
so we have our legislature that's right here, so we're able to build pretty strong relationships both at the municipal level and at the provincial level. And those advocacies have to go beyond. I mean, there are also issues that we're dealing with at the federal level.
Yes.
And that's really how the Chamber can support people in community and businesses, whether they're talking about tax changes, the recent PST changes on services, those types of things. That's where the Chamber can really listen to business, small business, medium business, and large business, and understand how to advocate for those challenges that they're facing. And we need that as a community.
What's the best use of funding and infrastructure mind that can actually build us the best economy, that can help keep churning the economy, not just in Victoria, but right across the region and in the province as well?
You know, I think if we look at examples of developing countries,
Yeah.
and developing countries that are trying to advance themselves economically, their focus, and usually when they're getting loans from places like the IMF, their focus is to build transportation infrastructure. Because if you can move people around, if businesses can do business,
Yeah.
that helps the economy overall. And that's what we need to focus on here, is moving people through the transportation infrastructure, whether they're coming in from the airport, they're coming in from the ferries, wherever it is that they're coming to this island, how can we move them around? And that drives our economy. That helps us to move people and move business and make investment.
Yeah, so very true. I feel like inspired. The field of dreams. You build it, they will come, and it all starts here. You got to be quite proud of this field and this team that you have working here.
I am so proud and feel so fortunate. I pinch myself every day that I get to come back here and run this airport. It was my dream job.
Well, Elizabeth Brown, thank you very much for having us here today. We were not going to take up any more of your time, but we appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Much more Chamber Chats still ahead. Stay with us. Hello, welcome back to Chamber Chats. Today we are talking transportation and how major infrastructure decisions have a ripple effect on the economy. And to do that, we are joined by Chamber CEO, Mr. John Wilson. John, thanks for coming back on the program.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Looking dapper as always.
Yeah, getting the summer look going
Each
on.
week, yeah, I got to keep up with you. Let's talk about that exact story, and how big of an impact are you seeing that have right now?
Well, large amounts. I think we're all hearing about the congestion and delays in the transportation corridors here, and particularly into getting down into downtown Victoria, and it's impacting what's already a hurting downtown core.
Yeah.
And we really need to look at some of the decisions, some of the timing that this work is being done. I know a lot of our members are mentioning, why can't more of this work be done in the evening and less impact on logistics and people's commutes and things like that. So it's hurting business, it's hurting productivity, and it's hurting our region.
Yeah, I want to talk about some of that hurt. And it's not like we live in Edmonton where they have like a 2-month window to do all their construction.
Right.
We have time to do it. But what would be some of those economic consequences of maybe poor transportation planning?
Well, it's simply people start just staying within their region.
Right.
We know our downtown core is hurting in large part because the public sector hasn't come back to their offices. We believe there's a large amount of empty office space in downtown Victoria. It's becoming a real challenge, and the downtown businesses are feeling it and hearing it, particularly around this parking and transportation issue now.
And there is a real ripple effect, isn't there? And that ripple effect doesn't just, I mean, it certainly impacts business, but it's not just businesses. It impacts the cost of living for a lot of people too.
Absolutely. I mean, productivity is delayed. I know Al Haysom has talked to you about that, and productivity and logistics, even in my family's business, in the bus business. I mean, time is money. It's an old saying, as old as can be. And as things get delayed, fuel costs go up, environmental concerns around idling and things like that, and costs go up with fuel surcharges and things. So we'd like to see a more collaborative approach to the decision making, one that includes business as well. We find all too often that business is not included in the process, or included after decisions are made instead of before decisions are made. We at the Chamber have made it very clear to all levels of government we're open to conversations to be part of the business voice within these decisions, but all too often we don't get included in the process. And you know, whether it's from the CRD to the different municipalities to the province to the federal government, we seem to be always trailing behind after decisions are made.
I'm interested in what the Chamber is doing and what they can do as far as advocating for the businesses, because that's a real big piece of what you do in giving these businesses a voice. And I'm sure there's a lot of different voices involved.
For sure, yeah. Well, we're talking to the City of Victoria in particular right now around their transportation department. We just, our Policy and Government Relations Committee just had the CRD transportation folks in. We talk to governments at all levels and try to be the unapologetic voice of business. We have 1,400 members and growing. And businesses are hurting out there and they need a voice, and we intend to be that for them.
And something that you and I have talked a lot about is that meaningful consultation, which is something so key. Yeah. So how do you get there? How do you get to that place of meaningful consultation?
Well, I think we need to make sure that the decision makers understand this is not just the voice of business, this is a voice of community as well.
Right.
Because business owners, particularly small business owners, are the community, and the politicians need to start listening to their communities and understand the pain that they're going through and make some adjustments in their decision making. I'm not saying it's easy, but being a leader is never easy, and there's going to having to make some hard decisions is part of leadership, and we really need now more than ever some strong leaders at all levels of government, because I can tell you our business leaders are strong leaders and doing the best they can in some cases just to keep the doors open.
Just looking kind of 10 years down the road, what would be an ideal situation in your eyes when it comes to transportation and then infrastructure in the entire region?
Well, certainly amalgamated transportation planning for sure.
Okay,
we can talk about amalgamation. That's probably another episode altogether. But yeah, we need to get our transportation planning departments together and working together. Transportation planners in general need to start thinking about business.
Yes.
And the transportation plans are put in place. And it's very obvious that businesses affected by these plans, whether that's parking getting taken away from a business right in front of their door or routes getting rerouted, they're not taken into account.
They're providing a service for the community. The least the community can do is try and get people there. You know, how tough is it when you're driving a bus in downtown Victoria to go against some of those bike lanes because they're tightened up lanes now, right?
Well, you know, I haven't driven a bus for a while, but I did at one time for sure. But I do know, in talking to BC Transit in the past, when bike lanes were first brought into downtown Victoria, BC Transit was consulted. But unfortunately, a lot of their feedback was not taken into account. So I know BC Transit is not real happy with some of the bike lanes that are put in place. It's really, really hard, as you know, for these buses to get in and out of some of these places, particularly some layover spots where when they move into a spot, their back end sticks out and it's blocking another lane, which creates more congestion. So again, like BC Transit is about, let's call it 9% of the population uses BC Transit, and it's an important part of of our transportation solution. But we also need to look at rail corridor and perhaps commuter ferry as well. So it's a multi-pronged approach for us to get a solution in this area of 400,000 people trying to get to and from the downtown core and region to region.
There's a lot of people who get excited when you talk about rail corridor and a potential passenger ferry. Do
Right.
you potentially see that as a reality in this region?
Absolutely. I know Mark Collins, the previous CEO of BC Ferries, who 40 plus year man in the marine business, said when they looked at the ferry commuter service from the West Shore was one of the only services he ever looked at that could break even in the first year.
Wow.
It's definitely doable. Probably needs to be a 3P approach with a private partner as well that could make it happen. But I think it's the low-hanging fruit that could happen very quickly, certainly a lot quicker than the rail corridor. That's not to say we're not saying do not explore the rail corridor.
Yeah.
But we think the ferry commuter idea is something that could be implemented very quickly.
I love it. That sounds fascinating, and I think a lot of people will get excited about that because they don't want to be part of that Colwood crawl anymore. It's something that's taken a long, long time. John Wilson, CEO of the Greater Victoria Chamber, thank you so much for coming in again today.
I appreciate it.
And you mentioned Al Haysom. Well, Al Haysom is going to be in our next segment. Much more Chamber Chats still ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back to Chamber Chats. Today we're talking transportation and how infrastructure decisions are impacting mobility and business in our region. And to do that, we are joined by a man who is always on the move, Al Haysom from Maximum Express. Al, thanks for jumping on the show, my friend.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so this is a pretty good barometer of where we are right now. We're on Blanchard, middle of the week. Rush hour is underway. And this sort of shows how big of an issue this is right now. How big of an issue is it?
It's becoming more and more of an issue on a daily basis. As you know, that I own a delivery company, Maximum Express, and we're on the road all the time. But we're not the only ones sharing the road. We share the roads with our entire Victoria region. And we all want the same thing. We all want to be able to get around. We all want to be safe. We want safety, transportation, accessibility, our economy, affordability. All of that plays a role in transportation.
Yeah, it really does. And like where we are right now is kind of a perfect example of what's happening in a grander scale around the capital region. I mean, we've gone down from 3 lanes to 2 lanes here on Blanchard. A bike lane is now in its place. It's busy in the middle of the week. How bad is it on a weekend or after a major event in town?
Oh, on a weekend and a major event, it's massive. Like think about all the people trying to get in and out of the Greater Victoria area or downtown, for instance, where everything is happening. You come from the West Shore, you come from Sydney, you're going to come down Blanchard, you're going to come down Douglas. These are the main corridors, and now the lanes have been taken away. So are the people increasing? Yes. Are the roads increasing? No. Yes. We have less road now than we ever had. And that doesn't mean that the bike lanes are not helpful. They're very helpful.
Yes.
You know, we all want bike lanes. We want great infrastructure. But let's have consultation with businesses, people that it's affecting, people that are getting around. Talk to people in cars. As you know that the census just came out, 80% of people use vehicles.
Right.
Whether it's with deliveries, trying to get accessibility. It's not just impacting the business community, it's a trickling effect.
Yeah.
For instance, for us, when we're delivering now, we're getting delayed. That delivery is now taking longer. Customers are waiting for it, so they're affected. Their customers are waiting for it, they're affected. The cost keeps going up because of the long amount of time it takes now to deliver it. So is it costing businesses more? Sure. Yeah. But is it costing you and me more? Yes, it is, because at the end of the day, the consumers are going to end up paying for it, so it's costing everybody.
And you're in such a unique position. I mean, not only are you a business owner, or are you part of the chamber as well, you're also, your business is moving and seeing this firsthand on a daily basis. So if you were to speak to these policymakers and these decision makers ahead of any major decision being made, what's something you would say to them as someone who sees it firsthand every single day?
I would say, let's sit at the table. Let's sit with the chamber. let's sit with the businesses and let's listen to what is affecting them.
Yeah.
How are we going to get people around? Yes, bike lanes are great. Maybe they shouldn't be on the main artery. Maybe they should be somewhere where it's safer for them and can get people around so we can still get vehicles into town.
Yes.
You know, don't take away the roads. Keep the roads. Let's try and be creative and make it so that everybody can get around without being stuck in traffic or without it being unsafe.
Just looking on the other side of that, if this continues, if these decisions continue without consultations, without actually talking to business owners, how bad could it get and what could potentially be the result of that?
Well, it'll cost people more.
Yeah.
It will, at the end of the day, just cost consumers more, businesses more. Business will start moving out of Victoria, especially downtown Victoria.
We're seeing it already.
We're seeing it already. There are vacancies over there. People want to get away to places where they can park easily, that they can get around easily, right? We don't want that to happen. Victoria downtown is beautiful. It's amazing. Like, I'm moving downtown Victoria because I love it.
Yeah.
Our businesses is in the core of it. It's in Victoria and we don't want to move anywhere, but it's making it very difficult for our trucks to get around.
Right.
They can't even get around on industrial roads because the bike lanes are there, which nobody consulted with businesses, especially in the industrial area, on why they were putting bike lanes that I think could have gone on different roads.
And Maximum Express isn't going to become a bike courier company anytime soon,
No,
right?
it's not. You know,
We
we
need
were
cars
bike couriers when there were a lot of envelopes, but now there isn't. So now they're all boxes and big, large items. So we have to have trucks, and larger trucks are coming into play.
I agree.
And
Awesome.
so it makes a difference.
Al Haysom, always a pleasure talking with
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for joining us on Chamber
Thank you.
Chats today. That's going to do it for another episode of Chamber Chats. And just a reminder, the Chamber always interested in new members. If you're interested, head to victoriachamber.ca. Until we chat again.